everyone, Catacon here. So I just wanted to give you guys the rundown of the changes for Overwatch Beta 2. And yeah, let's just get into the patch notes. The patch notes, probably each time I say it, will come up on screen, but yeah, here we go. So, first change is actually a nerf, weirdly, to Reinhardt. I will say I don't really think this nerf should have really been in the game. I don't know why they're nerfing Rein. Essentially, they changed his armor. His armor was reduced from 350 to 300, and his health was increased from 300 to 325. So he lost 25 HP, and he lost 25 armor. We have Winston, and I think as a lot of people know, Winston actually got a lot of play during the Overwatch League, and I feel like that's why they're nerfing him. So what they nerfed is his protective shield, his barrier protector. It is now 700 HP instead of 800, which I think that's fair. That's okay. I really don't think it's that crazy, but also it's understandable. Now what's less understandable is his primal rage. His ultimate cost is increased by 10%, which I don't really understand. I don't know why they increase his ultimate cost. I just feel like that's not necessary. Diva, sorry if you see the screen flash at all, that's me tabbing out, my bad. But Diva, mech armor was increased from 200 to 300, which is a lot. And the mech health was decreased from 450 to 350. So basically they just got rid of 100 HP but gave it in as armor. Which is odd that they gave Diva armor, but not Reinhardt armor. So, Orisa, first change is with her main gun. The damage was actually increased from 10 to 12, so her kill potential is actually really good. Alongside with that, projectile size no longer scales with distance, so it's the same size all the way. Projectile initial size also was reduced by 0.3 to 0.1. So it's actually smaller size up close, so it'll be a little harder to hit. But to compensate, the critical damage bonus was increased from 50 to 100%. So she shreds now with headshots. The damage fall off at maximum range was actually reduced. So at maximum range, it was 70% damage fall off. Now it's only 50. So if you let headshots, she can still do good damage from far. Another thing is that the maximum fall off range was reduced. So I think that means that it's actually a nerf, because 15 to 35 meters to 15 to 25. So it means it falls off quicker, I'm pretty sure. But that's probably just because of the fact that the damage fall off was reduced anyways. Next up, we have changes with Fortify, a few changes. Now it no longer gets rid of your any movement speed penalty. It's now got rid of the 20% movement speed penalty. Although, because of that buff, you can now be headshotted while you're in Fortify, which I think is a fair trade-off. Javelin spin now. The speed boost was reduced from 65% to 40%. The knockback's been increased. And also the cooldown was decreased from 10 to 7 seconds. So, one thing that I think is kind of crazy with this change is the knockback. The knockback is significantly more in my opinion. Like, that's way more than it was before. Before you could chain hits constantly while hitting it, while knocking them back. So, I think that makes sense. It's an odd change, but I think it's an okay change. Impact Energy Javelin, however, though, got nerfed twice. The impact damage was reduced from 80 to 60, so you can, so you can see right here. It actually, with Tracer there. That was the impact damage was reduced, obviously. So that's the thing. If I go behind Tracer, you'll see it won't even do half her HP. See, and used to do over half. But now, also, the Energy Javelin also has an 8-second cooldown instead of 6.5, which it used to be. So, that's another nerf for it. So, Energy Javelin in general kind of is a little bit of a loss there, but that's okay. I still think it's a very strong ability. Now, her ultimate, however, got buffed real good. Her ultimate has a huge buff now. The max damage was increased from 275 to 500. So that means that actually I think Doomfist is a good example. So Doomfist here, I think Doomfist has 450 HP, something like that. Now if you use it, you can one-shot Doomfist at full charge. See, you can one-shot some tanks at full charge. Next up, we have Bastion. He got a small change, but it's still a nice quality of life change. His sticky bomb, whatever it's called, a tactical grenade, cooldown reduced from 10 seconds to 8. So now it's only an 8-second cooldown. So, you know, that's a positive thing, I'd say. Oh, Cassidy got a very small change. He just gets, like, I think the damage reduction when rolling. The 0.5 seconds of rolling. So, you know, not that big of a change at all. Got her experimental changes. So when she fires all her shots and reloads, it's quicker. It starts quicker. Also, now, she also gets a concussive blast change from the experimental. So it now deals 30 damage and deals additional knockback on direct hits. Yeah, it's pretty far. So, the next changes are with Junkrat, actually. I did this a little out of order, but Junkrat's next. Junkrat had some interesting changes. First of all, his traps now are back to its original glory. Fully locks movement again. And its projectile speed is increased. So look, you can kind of chuck that pretty far. So alongside that, they also increased the projectile size of his frag launcher by 0.05. So it was 0.2, now it's 0.25. And here's, by the way, here's the change with that. So it no longer moves them at all. They're still locked. So the projectile increase actually matters a lot in my opinion. Because look at that. That still hit. See when it hits. Right there. That hit. Like that was... Let's see here. That hit. That was nowhere near hitting on screen. So yeah, I think that change is actually pretty good for Junkrat because he was in a pretty not great spot, I'd say. On to Symmetra. Symmetra, her primary got some changes. Maximum ammo increased from 70 to 100, so that's a really nice buff. However, it no longer generates ammo when damaging barriers, which, you know, the thing is there's not really many barriers anyways now in Overwatch 2, so wouldn't really help much anyways. The secondary fire, however, the projectile speed was increased from 25 to 50. There's a lot of changes here. As you can see, it goes really quick. I actually think it's pretty decent because you can now actually kind of aim it instead of just kind of spamming a choke to hope that someone falls into it like before, or really leading the shot. So yeah, that's definitely a good thing. The max damage was reduced, however, to compensate really for that. It now does let me look. It now does 90 at full charge, 45 impact, 45 explosion. It was 120. So the max charge projectile size was also reduced from 0.5 to 0.4, so the actual size of the projectile is a bit smaller. The ammo cost was increased, but that's because they increased the ammo of the gun. It was increased from 7 to 10. Charge time was increased from 1 to 1.2 seconds, so just slightly. Now that was all the change for that. As you can see, there's also a lot of visual changes that are new, like look at the gun here. Yeah. So her teleporter, it sadly, a couple things, buffs and nerfs. The build time was reduced from 2 seconds to 1. So it builds like instantly, also new visual, which is pretty cool. It now has a maximum lifetime of 10 seconds, which sucks, so you can't just hold it out infinitely. But the cooldown was also increased from 10 to 16. But to compensate for that, the cooldown now starts when you place the teleporter. So if it's out for the whole duration, you'll have a 6-second cooldown essentially. And then the health was also reduced from 300 to 200. It's now 50 health, 150 shields. Sentry turrets have the last change for her. Sentry turrets now, travel speeds increase from 15 to 20. They go a bit faster. Now the movement speed reduction on them also has been reduced from 20% to 15%. So yeah, they don't slow as much, which, yeah, I guess that's fair. But like some of those, I feel like they nerf things that don't need to be nerfed with her. She was horrible in the current like meta and everything, so I just really don't think they need to nerf her. But either way, moving on. So Torbjorn got some small changes. Torbjorn's recovery on both his firing modes got reduced. So fire recovery reduced from 0.6 to 0.55 on his primary. So if I hold it down, this is now his primary. His other secondary fire, it came from 0.8 to 0.7 seconds. I feel like you can really feel it on the secondary fire, in my opinion. I just feel like it really does feel faster. Alongside that, Zenyatta got a small change, although I think it wasn't a great change. It's the damage of Discord that's annoying. But what they changed is the time to fall off of a target when out of line of sight went from 3 seconds to 2. So 1, 2. Mercy is the last one that got some interesting changes. I don't play Mercy. If I play support, I never play Mercy. But Mercy got some small changes. The changes she got were with Guardian Angel. It can no longer be cancelled using crouch for a big vertical boost, and now automatically launches you upward when you reach the end of Guardian Angel. See, I'm not gonna press a button, and it launches you upward. How it works also is that if you press it and you don't want it, if you press it and don't want it, I thought you just hold on one sec. Maybe not. Okay, yeah, you have to cancel it preemptively by pressing shift again if you don't want the super jump. But now if it's super jump, you can it super jumps automatically. I don't mind it as a person who hasn't really played much Mercy before. It makes it easier, but I'm not sure what Mercy players who are used to it might think. Used to super jumping before. Now, there's one interesting thing is that now her passive, where she like descends, will now additionally slow ascent speed, if held, not just descent speed. So if you do this, I can kind of cancel going up early, which is kind of interesting. Instead of going up all the way up here, I can do this. See, I canceled it like halfway through, which is interesting. You'll see more Overwatch for me. I'm really excited for this game. I really like it. Overwatch 2, I think, is miles better than Overwatch 1. I used to play Overwatch 1 a lot. I played during like the very beginning and then mid of the game. Played a lot of competitive. I'd say I was a decent player. And yeah, I really just am glad I'm enjoying the game again. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Please drop a like, subscribe. Bye-bye.